Week 5 of the Diddy trial is about to begin, and things are heating up. Diddy has reportedly been kicked out of court for allegedly attempting to bribe the jurors, specifically Juror 6, who is suspected of being compromised and working on Diddy's behalf. This shocking development suggests that Diddy and his associates are still actively trying to manipulate the outcome of the trial. In another bombshell, a security officer has come forward, claiming Diddy offered him $100,000 to stay silent and help destroy key evidence. With critical evidence disappearing and victims vanishing one by one, it's clear that the situation is far more twisted than it seems. There's a lot to unpack, so let's dive in.
Really interesting thing just happened in court. So a witness who had just finished wrapping up her testimony left. The jury was excused for lunch, and then the judge turned to the defense team and said to them, "Your client has been nodding vigorously during testimony towards the jury." Now, there are explicit rules in court that the defendant is not allowed to have any form of communication with the jury. And the judge said to the defense team, "Is that going to happen again?" And they said, "No, it is not going to happen again." The judge called it absolutely unacceptable and said that if it does happen again, Combs could be removed from the courtroom altogether.
Now to the case against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
All right, the judge issuing a stern warning to Diddy's defense today.
And Fox 6's Lisa Evers was inside the courtroom when it all went down. Lisa, what happened?
Well, Natasha and Steve, it's hot out here today, but it was scorching hot inside that courtroom on the 26th floor here at federal court where the Diddy trial is taking place. The judge scolded Diddy and said that he had to stop staring at jurors and nodding his head repeatedly while testimony was going on. The judge even saying that he saw it happen twice and warned Diddy that if it happens again, he will take action, which could include banning Diddy from the courtroom itself.
Day 23 of the Diddy trial concluded with the judge launching an investigation into juror number 6. Just days ago, Diddy was warned to stop all communication with jurors, and now it seems clear which one he was in contact with. Juror 6 has been exposed for lying about his identity and background. Many had already suspected something like this, knowing that while Diddy can't erase the evidence, he might try to influence the jury with his wealth. Meanwhile, Combs' legal team is pushing to keep Juror 6 on the panel, framing the investigation as yet another effort to unfairly target a black man.
Diddy Juror 6 gave multiple inconsistent statements. The judge was going over his issues with juror number 6, and although he did not make a final determination, his thoughts on juror number 6 being removed were pretty clear. He stated that in the initial process, juror number 6 said that he lived in the Bronx with his fiance and his daughter. Then he turned around a while later and said that he moved to New Jersey with his girlfriend, and also said that his daughter lived in New Jersey. But then it changed again and said that his daughter lived in the Bronx with his aunt. And he referenced that this was only a couple of the inconsistent statements, that there were more. The judge then stated that he wants this juror off the jury because there is no reason why this man would have to lie, and the only reason he would lie is to be a part of the Diddy trial, which made him worry that this juror might have a malicious intent or an agenda. But then after the judge said that we need to strike this juror off of the jury, Diddy's team started bringing up more arguments about this. Diddy's lawyer said that this juror is important because they need diversity, and he is only one of 4 black men that sit on the jury. He also said that he doesn't believe that these inconsistencies were that big of a deal where this juror would have to be removed. Diddy's team was arguing that this is something that should have been brought up weeks ago, and nobody brought this up, and the government is saying, listen, I didn't even know about this back then. Then Diddy's lawyer said something really weird. They said, just bring this juror in, just question him. I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure he'll be able to explain. But this is what the government wanted the judge to do earlier, and Diddy's lawyer said, no. That would be harassing the juror. Then the judge told everybody to get out of the courtroom, that they needed to have a sealed talk.
Diddy's legal team is likely to use this situation as grounds to request a mistrial. They appear to be deliberately casting doubt on the integrity of the trial, knowing it's one of the few ways Diddy might avoid conviction. So far, they've requested a mistrial twice, both times denied. However, if they can present convincing evidence that the jury has been compromised or that the investigation is biased, there's a real chance the case could be thrown out.
The Sean Combs trial, his defense attorneys asked the judge to declare a mistrial in a late-night filing alleging prosecutorial misconduct. Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky at the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, George. Federal prosecutors, according to the defense, knowingly introduced false testimony that Sean Combs dangled a woman from a 17th floor balcony. It was Brianna Bongolan, a friend of Cassie Ventura, who told the jury that he lifted me up, then put me on top of the rail before throwing her onto furniture. The jury saw photos of a large bruise and her bandaged back. Combs denied it happened, and the defense argued hotel receipts show he was in New York at the time. The judge, though, is unlikely to grant the mistrial, and a fifth week of testimony is going to begin here this morning with Combs' ex-girlfriend, known by the pseudonym Jane, back on the witness stand. She's already tearfully told the jury grueling details of degrading sex with male prostitutes and how she feared if she stopped, Combs would stop paying her rent. Combs denies it all, says all the sex was consensual, and guys, Jane is expected to be on the witness stand for most of the week.
This isn't the first time Diddy has been accused of trying to bribe someone or cover up evidence. Eddie Garcia, the head of security at the hotel where the incident with Cassie took place, testified that both Diddy and Christian Combs pressured him into signing a non-disclosure agreement related to the assault. According to Garcia, Diddy and his team were desperate to erase the footage of him physically attacking Cassie and offered $100,000 to be split among the hotel's security staff. Garcia admitted he signed the NDA, which required him to stay silent and destroy any related evidence.
Today, the jurors in his trial heard from a former security supervisor at that hotel. His name is Eddie Garcia, and he testified that not long after the attack happened, Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Courtroom, called him to ask for the footage. He said that he told her no on the phone, and again when she showed up in the lobby, said he told her no again. But that night, Garcia testified, Christina Courtroom called him again, and this time she handed the phone to Diddy. Garcia told the jury in Combs' federal trial that Puff said if that video ever got out, it would ruin his career. He testified that Diddy promised to, quote, take care of him if he could only find a way to get that video. And so, Eddie Garcia, who was promised immunity to tell the truth in court, reached out to his boss, who agreed to sell the video for $50,000. And the following day, Garcia brought a USB drive with that video to a meeting he said included Diddy, that chief of staff, Christina Courtroom, and one of Diddy's bodyguards. But before handing over that little USB stick, Garcia said he told Diddy he was worried. He was concerned he might be implicated in a crime if Cassie Ventura ever called the police and complained. At which point, according to Garcia, Diddy had a plan. FaceTimed Cassie and ordered her to, quote, tell him you wanted this too, Cassie. A freshly beaten up Cassie was there on the FaceTime wearing a hoodie and complied with Diddy's demand, Eddie testified. He then said he signed a contract swearing that no other copy of the video existed and swearing him to silence with $1 million penalty if he ever spoke of what he saw or of what he did, i.e. the payoff. In return, Garcia says he was handed a bag containing $100,000, double the amount that Garcia's boss had asked for.
The core of this case is to show that Diddy used his power, connections, and wealth to exploit and abuse vulnerable victims. Even now, those patterns seem to continue. Just weeks before his arrest, Diddy was awarded the key to the city by Mayor Eric Adams, despite Adams reportedly being aware of Diddy's reputation and the ongoing investigation. Many are questioning how this was allowed to happen. Allegedly, Diddy had compromising information on Mayor Adams, which may explain the decision. Shortly after Diddy's arrest, Mayor Eric Adams was also taken into custody, raising even more suspicions about their connection.
Big breaking news tonight. For the first time in the history of New York City, a sitting mayor has been indicted for crimes. ABC News reporting that Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted by a federal grand jury. We do not know yet the exact charges. Federal authorities have been investigating Adams and members of his staff, issuing subpoenas for documents and cell phones. Several members of administration have resigned, some of them also friends of Mayor Adams. Again, Eric Adams, the 110th mayor of New York, has been indicted by a federal.
Diddy always been the type of individual that want to have ups on the next person no matter what they was doing. He did the stuff to Ja Rule so he could go after Jay-Z. They not gonna come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them, and they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. Until the Fed say, hey, yo, listen here. Hey, buddy, we got you on this tape, and girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not gonna show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love. That's when they're gonna start talking. And they're not gonna be talking in his favor. 250 cameras all over the house? Somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. When you that powerful, you didn't get that powerful without having 1 or 2 or maybe 3 ups on somebody.
There is mounting evidence suggesting that Diddy may have played a role in tampering with or destroying evidence in official police investigations. Strangely, every time incriminating evidence surfaces, it seems to mysteriously disappear. In one case, fingerprints were recovered from Kid Cudi's car, linking Diddy to an arson incident, but those prints were allegedly lost in an accident. Are we really supposed to believe this is all just a coincidence?
Court has adjourned today in the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Today, the defense requested a mistrial following testimony from an LA arson investigator, but the judge denied the request. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
A mistrial request denied in the federal criminal trial of Sean Diddy Combs. His defense team accusing the government of prosecutorial misconduct during the testimony of a Los Angeles arson investigator who spoke about fingerprints that were lifted from the front door of rapper Kid Cudi's home as part of an investigation into a break-in there in 2011. The investigator testifying that those fingerprints were destroyed, and when prosecutors asked the investigator if that was unusual, the defense accused them of trying to plant the idea that Combs was responsible.
The overall implication, according to the defense, is that somehow Sean Combs created that disappearance. The defense moved for a mistrial, and they moved for it because what they said is it's unduly prejudiced, because this is the whole theory of what the prosecution is putting forth, is that he has this control and can make these investigations disappear.
Instead, the judge striking that part of the testimony, telling jurors to disregard it. Right before, the jury heard from a police officer who responded to that break-in, testifying that he saw a black Escalade leaving the scene with plates registered to Combs' company Bad Boy Productions. The arson investigator also testifying about another incident at Kid Cudi's home in 2012 when his Porsche was set on fire. He testified about the smoke and fire damage in these photos that were shown to the jury, and said he determined the fire was targeted and started with a Molotov cocktail. Kid Cudi last week testified he believed Combs was responsible for both incidents after finding out he was dating Cassie Ventura.